Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Healing Conversations. My name is Einav Avni. I'm an alignment coach and energy healer. I use the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code to mostly work with people suffering from chronic conditions to help them heal or reduce their pains. This podcast is all about bringing the message of natural healing to anyone who needs to hear it. So let's get started and let me introduce today in the studio with me very special guests. I have Dr. Michelle Greenwell and Anne Smets. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
I
you for having us.
well,
Thank you for having us.
yeah, absolutely. Well, today this is a very special podcast, really special episode because the three of us today we want to share information, share some a little bit about a project that we started together. The project is called Aim for Greatness, and it's all about collaborating, combining our expertise, our skills, our experience to work with people and help them go from illness to wellness, as we say. So, Aim for Greatness started when I realized, as I was working with my own clients, that sometimes people would benefit from having an injection of other people's skills and expertise to really bring a more round solution to whatever they were going through. And that's when I had this initial conversation with Anne and Michelle some months ago, and we started together the first phase of the Aim for Greatness project. Now, I'm going to pause. We will talk more about the project in a minute, and I want Michelle and Anne to introduce yourself. Start with Michelle this time. Michelle, tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So I live in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, which is absolutely stunning with nature. And the colors that I have on my scarf today are the colors that are on the trees out there today. It is so beautiful for the fall. My background is in touch for health and neuroreflex integration. I love dance and Tai Chi. I love all things about movement to heal the body. And I can work through any kind of illness or challenge and bring it into a space where people have everyday activities to bring energy and vitality. Take it away, Anne.
Mm. Anne, your turn.
Yes, great. Hello, everybody. I'm Anne. I am currently located in Bruges, Belgium, and I'm a holistic health practitioner and 5D light worker. My journey started with my studies in Southeast Asia. I'm based under the Universal Healing Tower system, which very much resonated with me, looking at our bodies as a biological being and not just a mechanism, and everything in connection with nature. And from there I have evolved into specializing into deep organ detox, massage therapy and healing, and now much more work remotely as a light worker because I love everything frequency 5D, and how we can as a human being tap into that quantum reality. It's fascinating, and especially when connected with nature, it's really works wonders.
Mm. Nice. So nice. Well, I think now everyone can see why I, reached out to you to come together for this project. So thank you for the introduction, and let's see what let I want to share a little bit with our listeners about phase one of this Aim for project. Let's talk about things like what we were hoping for, how did it come together, what are some of the transformations that we've noticed, this kind of stuff. Who wants to start?
I can go. What I would say is for a lot of people, sometimes small changes happen and they don't seem very profound and they kind of go almost unnoticed because when you shift from something not working well to something that works well, you forget all about what didn't work well. And the aches and pains that you had, they disappear, and then you move your mind to somewhere else. And so you've completely forgotten. So what's really fun to watch with clients is, one, the spark that comes into their eye when something, they have a realization that this is not permanent, this doesn't have to stay how it is. And when they've realized that piece, and then you get to the end of the session and you ask them, where's your pain level at the moment? And you get 0. And they're like, even they can't comprehend 0. And to be able to watch that space, it's just so profound, especially if they've held on to pain every single day for years and they've thought it's the way of my life. And then to realize it is not. And that's been just such a delight for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just gonna just kind of say before we continue that the way that we worked with people, because a lot of the time one question that I hear a lot is, well, what do you mean? Do you have 3 people working with one person in the same session? And I wanted to just say no. What we really do is that we work in a rota, basically. So one of us will start, do a one-on-one session, and then we will muscle test to see which of us is working with the person next. And so all in all, a person will get 9 sessions, 3 sessions each. This is the way it is at the moment. And of course, what Michelle is describing is her experience with people reducing the pain, symptoms, discomfort, in the session, sometimes from whatever number to a 0, which is of course magnificent. And let's move on to you. What comes up for you?
Yeah, I must admit, when we started the phase one project together, I was very keen on trying it because I did experience in the past when I was working in one-on-one sessions with clients. I would sometimes refer to colleague practitioners to just have a session in between and then come back, because I could feel that it really takes another layer away from what need to be cleared. What I find was the big advantage and the big eye opener working together with the AIM project was the organized way that we actually hold the space for the person we're working with. And by muscle monitoring, we knew it was the right sequence for what they needed at that same moment. Plus, I love the fact that we also did the homeworking and the following up, and then the monthly community meeting, because I felt this was a much more deeper dimension in the healing journey, that we were able to support somebody with amazing results. I found a lot more profound, as if you would maybe work with 3 a random practitioner, but on your own in individual sessions. This whole package has so much more to offer in a healing journey.
I totally agree. For me, it was really interesting to see how I would work with someone on something, and then maybe you two would see this person after me, and then when I see them again, and I could see how far they've already come, and this is so, it's mind blowing, because of course usually as the sole practitioner, I'm there in every session and I know what's going on, and in here, of course, I was reading the notes and everything, but I could see the shift. I could see the transformation, and like Michelle said at the beginning, people don't notice that, as they come from day to day, they don't realize that thing that was bothering them for such a long time is no longer there. But for me, having not seen them maybe for a while, meeting them again, it's like, I can so see this, and it's awesome. It really is awesome. Um, so in the phase one of the project, we started that around April, I think. That was April, and we had five participants, and they had different conditions. So it was really interesting, right, to meet with them at the very beginning and hear where they were at and what they were hoping to achieve from this project, from this experiment, really. Um, what do you remember from that first initial phases, initial meetings with the people?
Um, uh, yeah,
Either
shall
of you.
I shall I start? Yeah, I
Okay.
must admit, what struck me was that they all came in on a different, let's say, with a different approach, and some with more resistance than others. Some came in with very open, so yes, we'll go with the flow, and I'm open to see what happens. And others would be very bring in a lot more, yeah, resistance, I would call it. And
Mm.
that, especially those with more resistance, was so beautiful to see how it developed and how they blossomed open, and towards the end literally were a whole different person and really embracing the healing, finally believing in themselves that yes, they have, everybody has the ability to heal themselves and to feel better and less pain or get purpose in life. So it was, yeah, that I thought that was very interesting to see all the different approaches, and how that in the end almost we had the same result as an end effect. That was quite miraculous.
Yeah. It was really cool, right? I mean, listening to people mentioning the changes that they noticed for themselves when we were kind of bringing it all together, and some of the things that people said, it was like again, like what Michelle said earlier, they never dreamed that this is the results that they can achieve in actually such a short time. Um, yeah. What was your impression, Michelle?
Mhm. I think, coming in at the beginning from our perspective as facilitators, is we're used to working one on one. We're used to, like you described, that continuation of a process. And what we realized quickly on, I think it was only like the second session with people, that this is much bigger than those one on one pieces. And
Mm.
just the fact that there's three of us each coming in, because we do review each other's notes. We do make sure we're completely connected to the person. So when they come into the program, they're not just coming in when they come to see us on that one day. And then when they see the next person on the next time, they actually come in and now they're under a blanket. They're under a blanket of care that has three of us all working energetically to really hold a space. And I didn't realize. I mean, I understand it and I work with it in many different capacities in the group settings that I work in, but I didn't really understand how powerful that was going to be for us, and then how powerful that was going to be for the people who are in the project, because they were being held in a space that allowed them to trust and transform and let the little things just fall away, which for some people with resistance, they can hold on really tight. And people were just able to just let that flow out. And what one person might let go of in a session, everybody else gets the repercussions of that. So instead of you waiting until it's your turn to let go, you actually could have already let go. Again, you're not really aware of it, but it means that you are starting to already think differently. You're starting to do different things. And that's when we come in and we haven't seen somebody for maybe 3 sessions, and it's our turn to meet. And it's like, wow, your goal at the beginning was to get rid of the shoulder pain. And your goal now is you want to write a book. Like, that's night and day. You're not even talking pain anymore. You're talking about real ambitions and goals. And you're now living a life. You're no longer just maintaining a life. That for me was really profound. And then to see how our Theta 2 could expand on that whole group activity, and how much more power we're going to be able to bring in, realizing how these changes really are making a difference for people.
Exactly, and that brings me to the question of, really, here we are on the eve of finalizing phase one of this project and just about to start phase two. Phase two is due to start on the 24th of October. But who is this for? Who should be paying extra attention to this? To this conversation, and think, this is for me, or this is for someone that I know. who are we targeting here? Who should we? Who would benefit most from joining us?
I have this banner going off that says the people who want to really live.
Yeah.
That's the banner that's going off. So, if you're just kind of, yes, there's chronic conditions, and yes, we've been targeting those people with chronic conditions that haven't been able to find resolution. But also, if you've just kind of been, I don't know, floating through, you're just kind of doing the everyday, nothing ever really changes, and you're thinking, what is this all going to mean? That's how we can really make the change. We can show you. And just that one description about going to write a book, I mean, that's profound. And someone else changed homes, they changed states that they were living in, they've changed the way they're going to set up their home. With an artist that she completely transformed how she was working with her art. That we can just, the sky's the limit for what's possible.
I like what you're saying there, because when you're suffering from pain, that's the only thing you can think about. Like, remember the last time you had a toothache, for example, even if it wasn't chronic, you can't you can't think much beyond that. It's like it occupies your mind, it occupies your day, it occupies everything. It changes your routines, it changes your aspirations and all of that. And here we are saying that actually we looked at this pain, we did something with it, we actually helped reduce it, we helped move it away, make it disappear, heal. And now really we're going into that other level. Really, what is it that you want from your life? What is it that you were missing before, or something that you were putting on hold? Yeah, that's just came to me. But I'm curious to hear what you're thinking.
Yes, I totally agree. It was beautiful to see. Like Michelle mentioned, the initial, okay, there's a trigger that you go and find and look for help, but then along the way you find out I actually am totally, I've lost myself. I'm not in alignment anymore, and bring that to awareness and assisting people to find that realignment to that soul's purpose, even by little conversations, clearing away maybe old blockages. It could be even on a karmic level, some traumas that they're even unaware of, they're holding and have been holding for lifetimes, suddenly clear away, and you find your destination almost, or a new purpose in life. That is just, that's just the most beautiful thing you can imagine, not just for the person, but imagine also what it does for their environment. It will trigger out to the family, the friends, and look at us, how we get uplifted from each other and working together. So we're actually not just working one on one, but this is like almost a community globally, and I think that's what really excites me the most.
Yes, yes, I love that you said that. And I think really, who who are we thinking of? Who would like to see joining us on the second phase? Is really, like Michelle said, anyone with chronic conditions, but also anyone that is feeling stuck or unmotivated, or feeling like life is just happening to them and they haven't had a chance to catch on yet. And the all, I know I'm basically describing everyone, anyone and everyone. So
But that's the key piece, though, right? Because sometimes too, you're living your life and the little niggly things are just there, and it's just like, well, they're always there, so you just kind of put them to the side because that's just who you are. But you've never even thought about if those little niggly things weren't there, and you might not even be able to put your finger on what those things are. But if they weren't there, what would that mean? It wouldn't be occupying so much of your time, your space, your way of moving, the way of thinking, and we don't know what that is then pushing away instead of attracting to us, and that's so important. Yeah.
Yes,
yes.
and also what comes to mind just now is any age. What makes me cringe very often is yeah, I'm over 50, my knees hurt. Oh well, yeah, it's my age, but I don't believe in that. Any age you have the right to feel healthy, happy, and full of motivation to start new projects. It doesn't matter. Life doesn't stop at a certain age, it continues. That's so important also to realize.
Good point. Good point. And to that, it's really that disbelief, right? When we take to, when we talk with people and we share our experiences, either as a group or individual, and we've seen it happen, right? We've seen the transformation. We've seen people nearly, well, I was going to say getting out of wheelchairs, but then I thought actually people might might take it literally. I haven't seen anyone coming out of a wheelchair yet, but maybe I'm right. It's like you
I
said, the
have.
sky is the limit. It can
I
happen.
have.
All right.
And coming into my classes with 2 canes and leaving with none. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I can say from beta 1, someone who could not get out of the chair because the pain in her knees were so bad, to discover that there was no pain. When we finished, there was no pain, and she'd never had that. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is I kind of lost my train of thought, but yes, I'm glad that you brought it up. But yes, so anyone hearing this, if you think actually, I think I go back to myself. It's that thing of the disbelief. That's what I was saying. Is that people can't envisage what can happen, because it's never been there. They haven't seen it yet. So we are talking about trying to listen to what we are saying, not from your negative mind that you're saying it will never happen, and this can work on other people, and not for me, not with my condition. Actually, just come and listen to what we are saying with an open mind. I can't promise you what the results are going to be, but I can tell you that you're going to gain so much from this environment, because we're not just looking at your physical symptoms, we're looking at your whole well-being. We're looking at you holistically, and actually there's nearly no way other than improving. Really. Yeah.
I was thinking too about how much people will spend money on all the things to get well. So the trip to the pharmacy, the trip to buy tools, massagers, oils, anything that will assist them to help the ailment. But how many people actually take those same dollars and invest in their wellness? So instead of investing in trying to placate the symptom, how many people actually invest in moving in the direction they actually want to go? And that's a different piece. And then when you look at the investment is incredible in how it magnifies. Because now you've also let go of what you were investing in your illness, because that's not going to be necessary, because you're going to be moving in a different direction. And so now your investment becomes, where do I want to go? What do I want to do?
Yes, it really is like, what would you do if today was, the first day of the rest of your life, without all of these baggages and limitations that you were carrying with you, up to here? And that is a very deep question.
And a
Right.
lot of people, go ahead, Anne.
No, I wanted to add to Michelle's remark. I totally agree. And also, you're gonna be aware of the importance of looking after yourself, and the amazing power that you have within yourself to heal yourself, and also to slowly adapt your lifestyle. So your whole life is gonna just change for the better, and it's not gonna be a struggle. You will see that it can go gradually and automatically when you come more in that alignment. Your nutrition's gonna be better, you're gonna move more. It's just gonna be an automatism, and you look back a year down the line and say, wow, I've come a long way. And that's the whole beauty of the natural evolution that you will go through in this process.
I love that you said that. I really do, because when a lot of the time when people think about change, they immediately close off, and they immediately come up with hundreds of reasons why they shouldn't. And actually,
Yeah,
when you remind us that this is a very gradual, and we take it so slow, there is no 100%. We really take it in the pace that that you dictate, or that muscle testing dictates. We go where we need to go, but we're not pushing, and so it's becoming. It's not just change. It's
right.
it's gradual. I love that.
And einav
Um,
is referring to muscle testing. So what she's actually referring to is all three of us do biofeedback. That is, we ask your body what it is that it needs, and in what priority does it need it. And most people are not asking that question. They're trying to fix something that's bothering them, and they try to do like a hit and miss kind of way of I'll try this and I'll try that and I'll try this, or I'll try all five things at the same time, and it's okay if I create chaos as long as something works. But what we actually do is we actually ask the body, what is it that it needs? What's its priority? What's the speed it needs to be receiving support at? And how much time does it need to process between, so that we maximize each session? We're not just jamming them one on top of the other, because you can work with all three of us, but we actually say, how much time do you need, so that you can understand what that change means for you, and you can start to bring that into your life, and then move to the next piece when it's time. And that biofeedback can be done by muscle monitoring, and it can also be done by just, lots of people have sensations inside, intuition that helps them. But we help you to develop that skill, so that you know how you can move forward.
yes, thank you for mentioning that. And that brings us very nicely to what I thought would be really interesting to do, is to speak a little bit, to bring it down a little bit to the level of people's conditions or symptoms, or basically look at some common conditions that people might have, and see how each of us would help to, what we would do in a session, and how our modalities might help to reduce the symptoms and pain and the conditions. Um, so the first one that I think is very popular these days is fibromyalgia. I know that I was just talking with someone. I was interviewing them the other day, and we know that a lot of the time doctors that give this diagnosis of fibromyalgia pretty much for anyone that they don't really know what's wrong with them, kind of. So if you Google fibromyalgia, Google says that basically this is incurable. That really you don't know how it arrives, this condition, and it's also stress related, but there's no solution, and yet here we are saying there might be a solution. So Michelle, we'll start with you. Someone comes to you and they want to work on their fibromyalgia, reduce it, heal it, make it disappear. What does a session with you might look like?
I work with the bioenergetic wellness formula. So I have a very specific way that I live my life, and that I do things every day with. And that is understanding what your ultimate goal is. And for a lot of people, you've talked about already, is just get rid of the pain. But I really look at, what would you be doing when you didn't have the pain? So we can start to actually move ourselves out of that space. And then I would be looking at patterns that they have, and the way that they tell their story. Their story is very important for moving them out of the story and into the space of, what skills have you developed as a result of that story, and where would you like to go with that? And I very often, while I'm chatting with people, I'm also doing energy activities. So I might be doing a little bit of Tai Chi, moving the hands. I might have them hold some points on their head, maybe actually have them massage a spot. We're doing this online, so everything that we're doing, we have a conversation going back and forth. If a person was in the room with me, I might do those techniques for them, but online they could do them for themselves, so they're learning how to do it. And I really appreciate being able to offer some homework being just activities that starts to change their everyday habits, and also to look at what their habits are, because habits are the things that keep us where we are. So trying to inject new things, but also to figure out what needs to come out. And I can do that through movement, but again, too, I can do that through touching points on the body or massaging points too.
Great, great. Anne, what would a session be like with you?
Yes, I would first of all have like a discovery call and a conversation. And usually it's a moment for me to scan the person who's in front of me, because by just listening to a conversation, my goal of my work is to find a root cause and a trigger where then all the rest coming from. And this is looking at the whole picture, so not just the physical element. We have our body, of course, but we have the different layers of our luminous field, our energy field. So I tap also into the physical, the mental, emotional, and then also spiritual and karmic. So very often I find that the body, the physical, is the last element that is being triggered, and then the pain activates, but the cause lies already much further afield in the energetic field. And that's how my work will develop, by getting to know the person, looking at the lifestyle, because it's very important. You cannot disconnect one of the other. Body has to be together with energetics, but how high or low is the frequency this person is living in, the awareness, what do they eat, drink, sleep, is the whole picture. And then we're gonna by energetic release of blockages and layers, layer by layer, we can clear emotions that get stuck, or all trauma, and slowly re-educate and bring awareness of, like then Michelle comes in as well, shifting the mind, that your dominant thought shifts from, why me, why do I have to have pain, of, oh, I can actually achieve whatever I want in life. I can have it all. Kind of these little shifts by clearing all the blockages, because very often somebody is not aware of it, but also keeping the frequency high, because that's very important to stay healthy and happy in today's life. We do get a lot of bumps, and it's a bumpy world out there, but we can re-educate ourselves, and with the help of the three of us is a great example on how to shift that, to come in that state of high healthy frequency, that we can get through life in any way we want. We choose, not anybody else choose for us. That's kind of, yeah, how I like to work.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I love listening to both of you when you describe your sessions. It's so giving. It's so enriching and giving, and and then I like what you're saying, of course, about raising the energy, because energy, you can't heal if your energy is low. You have to raise your energy to bring the healing, and that's what we're doing in our individual sessions. Um, for me, what I bring, and I was thinking about it because I brought the example of fibromyalgia, but um, of course, generally speaking, for me, it's as it is for you, is the format of my sessions. My sessions are 2 hours long, and in the first hour, I do the alignment coaching. And for me, the idea is that the chronic conditions, or actually any symptoms that people are displaying, is because they're out of alignment. So where are you operating from fears and limitations and compromises? Where do you believe that you have no choice? Where do you believe that it was done to you and that you have no power to change? I'm very interested in these questions, and especially talking about fears and the negative conversations, because I really believe that half of our troubles come from these the fears and negative conversations. So when we bring it, so a person will share what is going on in their lives. They will share what, a moment in time where everything started to go wrong, for example, and slowly we are starting to unpack all of these limiting beliefs, all of these fears and compromises and stuff. And so at the end of every session, I think we have some internet challenges. Okay, and came back. At the end of every session, there will be a shift that a person is already feeling in terms of how empowered they feel now, and how they they starting to change. They have a lot of reframes that they achieve for themselves. So the session is very profound, really, and it's called alignment because we are working on how to get back into this alignment, and it's actually a lot of fun because when you know a person gets to speak with someone else about how stuck they are or how they're feeling, all of that, all of a sudden they have the opportunity to share things that maybe they haven't told anyone ever. And so already we are starting this release, already we are starting to look at things in a different way, and this is how the shift is happening. And then the second part of the session is the energy healing, and I use the emotion code, the body code, or the belief code. And similar to you both, it is, working with energy. So with these three codes, the idea is that because we are all energy, when we are experiencing emotional events or trauma that we can't process, these trapped emotions become blockages. They block our energy field. And because everything and anything is energy, I don't really need to know what someone is diagnosed with. I just need to know that there is blocked energy. And so using the codes, I connect with your subconscious mind, and I start releasing the things that the subconscious mind is telling me that are interfering. And because the subconscious mind knows everything about us, it also knows exactly what we need to release in order to get back into the best version of ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I think hearing everything that the three of us bring to the table, I think it's so, I really feel it. I really feel how incredible the sessions are, and how much possibility there is for people to get better, to heal physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Um, do you want to go again through more specifically with chronic stress, which was another example that we wanted to bring, and maybe cancer as well? Do you um, would you work differently with either of these conditions, as an example?
I would say it is based on the person more so than the actual condition, and what's led them to where they are. But what I do know for a lot of people with chronic stress is the postures that they hold daily keep them in that stress. So it's the way they sit at their computer, the way they are in the car, how much time they spend sitting, how much time they spend moving, what kind of movement they're doing, whether it's quality movement. And those frozen positions really continue to hold on to that chronic stress. And that's one way that I have the opportunity to start to show them where the patterns are in their life. They might be able to make changes, and in some cases dynamically sitting. So you're not sitting just statically working, but you're actually sitting in a way that's energy building. And that starts to change how you finish a day, and then how you go into the life you want to live rather than the life after work, which sometimes is just exhaustion. But you can actually move out of that into a joyful living, which is the life that you really want. Work time is just for work time.
It's I think this is one thing that you always bring to the table, and I always enjoy hearing about it because we don't usually make this association, right? Like some people won't make this association that the food that they eat can influence how they feel. It's the same thing with the posture and the movement, and how you hold yourself. And I know from some experiences that we've had together, and when you introduce different exercises and different ways of moving and stuff, it's like, oh, yes, I really know what you're talking about. Yes. And then yes, we immediately sit straighter, and yes. Um, and do you have anything to add if we're looking more specifically at chronic stress or cancer?
Yes, I know. I just laughing with Michelle, and like you said, the posture. I remember my mom always say, "Shoulder straight," something I got. Um, yeah, no, it's very much a tailor-made session each time when I meet somebody. So I can't really tell you it's a cookie cut formula that I use. But very often with stress, what also is lacking is a good way of breathing. Breath is very important. See where holds the breath, how deep do they breathe? So we'll incorporate some deep belly breathing as well, um, exercises, breathing exercises, or mindfulness exercises to reduce those the triggers that cause the stress to calm down the central nervous system. So yeah, each session there is the basics that I will use, but there'll be add-ons as well. Also, it's a big toolbox that I bring and then see what can I use today. Also, quite often I love working with essential oils, aromatherapy. They can be very calming as well. So I'll introduce that. It really depends also what the person is more interested in. Very often meridians, so the vital energy, the life force energy runs in our body through the meridians, the channels that connect all our vital organs. Very often there's not a good flow there. So I'll introduce some nice qigong exercises to continue doing after the session to keep the flow, to keep it all moving. So yeah, it depends really from person to person, but yeah, we'll create a nice package.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And for me as well, I just want to add that similar like that. Every time that I meet with a person, we are going to uncover something. Where are they having habits and patterns and um, that this kind of stuff that is holding them basically stuck where they are today. And I believe that when we understand, when we go back into our alignment, the conditions that we go through, they will reduce, disappear, or something along those lines. So the conversations are very well. I really believe actually that the conversations are nearly more important than the energy healing, but the combination of both is very, very profound. I have a question that I want to ask, briefly, or as you are. I want you to tell me what made you get into this, not the project and the collaborations, but actually into the energy healing, or the way that you're working with people at the moment. What is the thing that you thought, actually, this is more interesting to me than going to the office, or something like that? No judgment, of course, to people that goes to the office. And let's start with you. What made you get into the things that you're doing today?
Well, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, the answer would probably have been different to today. But today, I can firmly say I believe that I was put onto this world to do this. It's a continuation of inner wisdom that I came to the world with. Um, and I must admit, I must have been born, and that's why I was born in the right family as well, because it's a walk your talk kind of story for me. And natural healing has been already been introduced by my parents, but especially my dad as a child. um, One thing I will still remember is when I would have as a kid belly pain, he would just say, take your two hands, place them on your belly, feel how warm they get, and the pain will go away. And things like that. And it was true. And now my
Mm.
specialization is deep belly massage. So, but many things when I had growing pains at an age of 12, I was a gymnast when I was a kid and my knees hurt so much. But my dad took me to the acupuncturist. So it's been something that, yeah, was reintroduced in my life, I would say. And then when I started picking up books again about holistic health, energy healing, it was just like I read a book and I could give a lecture. And that's when I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Not only do I love it, I experience it myself, I live it, and I want to share it and inspire as many people as possible.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. And Michelle, what about you?
My story, I had very bad allergies. I had pneumonia, bronchitis. I was sick all the time, in and out of hospitals. My bedroom was wrapped in plastic. I couldn't go outside because I was allergic to the grass. Like it was, it was like a little tiny prison. So I learned how to be really happy inside and not having to go outside. And it accelerated in my dance career. By the time I was 16, the pain in my knees, from same as you're saying, Anne, jumping up and down on cement floors because they didn't know any better at that time, just wreaked complete havoc on the structure of my body. And so knowing how much pain I've come through, and also that there were no answers, except to have, allergy shots and walk around with an inhaler, using it all the time and making sure my medical alert bracelet was on. That's how I lived. And I always wanted to know about healing, always. And it wasn't until I hit my 30s and had both of my kids at that point, and I said to my husband, there has to be more than this. And then that's when I was pointed in the direction of Touch for Health. And what I enjoy now is that I pretty much have an answer to an ailment instantly most of the time. And to have that self-empowerment in my life, and to know that when my knee hurts, I can do something about it. And if I have a stomach ache, like you said, Anne, you have these tools and the opportunity to show people that it does not have to be the way they've been living. And I am a walking example. I don't have any allergies left. I don't have asthma. And I lived with all of that, and it's gone. And so it's just so powerful to be able to do this. I combine my passion for dance, my passion for Tai Chi, with my passion for healing work, and also just my passion for people, because I really enjoy being in the community and helping the community and helping people to be empowered. So
Amazing. Amazing. And for me, I'm not sure exactly where to start, but I my life before that, I guess I was in IT. I was a user experience designer, and I loved the people aspect and finding out about the mindset, what they enjoyed when they came to a website, what they wanted to do, what they wanted to achieve, what they were scared of. But beyond that, I always knew that I had an ability, I guess, or a way to have a conversation with someone and see things in the way that they didn't. And so, kind of a reframe, a natural way of helping them uplift was always there. And then one day I decided to jump ship and moved from the IT world into coaching. And there I immediately got to this idea that we have a negative self-talk that was um, very active and would easily ruin our lives if we allowed it. And more importantly, that we had another voice, which is the voice of our unconscious mind, intuition, in the guidance system, that knows everything about us. And when you're able to recognize what you are connecting with, you can achieve anything. And for me, it's really simple. And I was talking about that for a while as I was doing my confidence and empowerment coaching. And one day I saw a lecture by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He's the guy that invented the emotion code, body code, and belief code. Well, the belief code, he it's based on another system, but nonetheless, it's his guy, this guy. And he just said, he just talked about the subconscious mind. And he said, your subconscious mind knows everything about you, so it knows how to heal you. And I was like, yeah, that's what I was saying. And I knew instantly that I needed to do more about that. And I had some micro experiences with people just to see if this was the right thing for me. And the transformation that I've seen was so profound. And I was like, right, this has to be me. And as soon as I started walking with people with chronic conditions, like what Anne said, I knew that this is exactly what I meant to be doing. It's there's no question here at all, and so I am feeling very privileged that I can share this, and bring this to the world. It's awesome for me.
Mm.
And so now something that we started this podcast with a very specific goal. And as we've been talking, we've all been bringing to the table all of our tools. I've had several yawns through, which means that energy has been shifting. So if you've been listening through the podcast and you're still here with us right now, then just to consider how you felt before we started speaking and how you feel now, because there has been a change that's happened and a shift, and it's continuing. And so as you experience that, that's what happens. And we haven't even done an individual session. We're just here having a conversation, but we set it up so that people are empowered and they're in a space of healing right from the start. And we hold that space the whole time that you're in the project. So.
Lovely. So we're getting towards the end of our podcast, and I want us to briefly mention uh, a webinar. We have a free webinar that is coming up. Who would like to explain a little bit more about the webinar and then the phase two? Let's do it this way. Anne, you talk about the webinar. Michelle, you talk about the phase two. Anne, we'll start with you.
Yes, we will be gathering again October 20th in a webinar where we will, of course, have live participants joining us. And we want to share basically the power of healing as a community. So we will bring some tools to the table. We'll open the toolbox and share some practices, but also through conversation and Q&A. Just by being together and sharing high frequency vibes for an hour or so, you will be amazed what it will do to your well-being and how you will feel. And that's the idea behind the podcast. Yes, and then towards the end, we will also explain a bit more about the second stage, Michelle.
Yes.
So part two is we're looking for people, as we said, who have chronic conditions or have situations where they have not been able to find an answer or a way forward. And so if you're feeling stuck and you think that this is the year, this is the time that you're going to make the change and you're going to invest in your wellness, then we invite you to come and join us for this project. You have 9 sessions, 3 sessions with each of us. Then we have our group session once a month. And we also have other activities that kind of happen as a result of the work that all 3 of us are doing. And we're going to be holding the space at that. So this last beta group, we had 5. So that meant 5 times 9 is 45 sessions where we're specifically targeting things that you will feel the influence of the energy of. But then we have group activities plus the work that each of us does every day and how we're going to be holding the space for that. So you can see how this is magnifying. So across the time that we'll be together, we'll be somewhere around 4 to 5 months, depending on how long it takes for everybody to work through their 9 sessions. And at the end, then you have that opportunity to be able to look back and see what's really happened for you. And we hope that you'll notice and feel the same profoundness that we enjoyed in Beta 1. But because we've made some of the changes to the amount of group activities and holding the space that we've added in, we feel that it's going to be much stronger and more supportive for all of those people coming into the Beta 2 project.
Beautifully said, both of you. Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to say, as we are coming to the end, that if you've been here and listened to the podcast and think to yourself, I know exactly who needs to listen to this, please do share this podcast with them, because we are here to uplift the world. Really, we are here to share the energy, to bring everyone. not sure about the words that I want to say, but I know that there are people here that are meant to listen to the podcast and connect with us in a different way. Please do come to the webinar. It's free. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very beneficial. Like Anne mentioned, there's some healing activities that you will already be able to enjoy. You're able to ask your questions and see for yourself what it would be like. So just before we say good night or goodbye, um, depending of where you are in the world today, let's come up with one message each that you want to leave our listeners or viewers with. Start with Anne. What is one thing you that comes up for you right now?
I would say your dominant thought becomes your reality. So be mindful of that.
Lovely.
And I'm going to add on to that in that if that dominant thought is about how to work with symptoms, let us help you to change that to wellness. How you find wellness, hold on to wellness, and bring wellness forward in your mind rather than just putting the Band-Aid on those symptoms.
Yes.
Lovely. And for me, I would say there is a reason why you're here, and it's time to change. It is time to put trust into your future, into yourself, and know that you were not meant to be here suffering. You're meant to be here progressing,
Thriving.
healing, striving. Good word. Yes. So please do join us on the webinar on the 20th. Of course, all the information will be in the show notes wherever you see it. Please do like, comment, share, send it to your, anyone you think might benefit. Please do share it with them. And thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Anne, for being here with me
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you. It was
You, Einav.
wonderful. Thank
Thank
you.
you enough, Michelle.
Thank you.
Lovely.